This video and podcast are for informational and educational purposes only and do not constitute medical advice. We partner with Ascension Peptides, who supply pharma-grade peptides. Click on the link to learn more.
We usually think of aging like a machine breaking down over time. Parts rust, gears grind, and eventually the whole system just wears out. But biology doesn't work like a mechanical engine. Aging is actually a precise mechanical failure of two specific interconnected biological timing systems. Starting in our 20s, two distinct biological clocks inside our bodies begin to simultaneously shut down, quietly ticking away our health span. The first is the microscopic clock, our telomeres. Telomeres are the protective caps at the ends of our DNA that keep our genetic code safe, but a tiny piece gets snipped shorter every single time a cell divides. Eventually, those caps run out entirely. This breaking point is called the Hayflick limit. The Hayflick limit is the exact number of times a cell can divide before it stops functioning and becomes senescent. These senescent cells, often called zombie cells, stop dividing but refuse to die, instead releasing damaging inflammatory signals into surrounding healthy tissue. While your cells are hitting their microscopic limits, a macroscopic clock in your brain is also failing, the pineal gland. This tiny structure produces melatonin, which acts as the master signal for nighttime cellular repair and immune recovery. As we get older, calcium deposits build up in the pineal gland tissue. By the time we reach our 60s, this calcification causes melatonin production to drop by up to 75%. These two failing clocks create a compounding downward spiral. Your cells lose the ability to divide safely at the exact moment your body loses the master signal to repair them. To interrupt this collapse, researchers synthesized a tetrapeptide called Epithalon to simultaneously target both the pineal gland and the cell nucleus. Epitalon is a synthetic peptide developed by Russian researcher Vladimir Kovinson. A peptide is simply a short chain of amino acids. By isolating just 4 specific amino acids, Kovinson created a compound that perfectly mimics a natural extract produced by the human pineal gland. Because Epitalon is so incredibly small, it easily enters the bloodstream, penetrates heavy cellular membranes, and travels deep into the cell, locking into the nucleus where it interacts directly with our DNA and the histones it wraps around. Once inside, it acts as an epigenetic switch. It physically unspools tightly packed DNA structures to expose and turn on specific genes that have been dormant since our early development.
Find Epitalon and other peptides at our sponsor, Ascension Peptides.
The primary gene it activates produces telomerase. This crucial enzyme is specifically designed to rebuild the protective caps at our chromosomes. It physically attaches to the frayed ends of the DNA strand and generates new protective length block by block, allowing cells to safely divide far past their original expiration date. By physically restoring the length of our telomeres, Epithalon allows human cells to continue dividing far beyond their usual programmed limits. Fixing the cells is only half the equation. Epithalon simultaneously moves outward to the brain, directly restoring the function of the aging, calcified pineal gland. This chart shows our 24-hour biological rhythm. Cortisol drops to a baseline in the evening, followed by a massive spike in natural melatonin. This synchronizes circadian rhythms, triggering the immune system and releasing growth hormone pulses needed for deep tissue repair. Because it triggers powerful biological mechanisms, Epithalon is not designed to be taken continuously like a daily vitamin. The protocol requires subcutaneous injection for short 10 to 20-day cycles, repeated 2 or 3 times yearly. This pulsing method prevents the body's receptors from adapting to the signal and shutting down their own natural production. This cycle-based approach recalibrates the body's internal baseline, allowing the pineal gland to maintain a more youthful hormonal rhythm on its own. In foundational animal models, researchers observed that administering Epithalon delayed the onset of tumors and extended maximum lifespans. The most compelling human evidence comes from a 12-year clinical study out of Russia, which tracked a large group of elderly cardiovascular patients. This chart maps patient survival over 12 years. The control group follows a steep downward trajectory, but the Epithalon group diverges. By the timeline's end, their overall mortality rate was cut entirely in half compared to the control, alongside vastly improved metabolic markers. There is an important caveat to these results. While the underlying biological mechanisms are well documented, The vast majority of this long-term human data remains isolated to Eastern Europe and currently lacks large-scale independent replication in Western trials. Epitalon also cannot perform magic. No peptide can override the constant cellular damage caused by a chronically stressed, highly inflamed, and sleep-deprived lifestyle. But the data we do have proves that biological aging is not a one-way street of inevitable decay. By precisely targeting the timing mechanisms deep within our DNA and our brains, we can transition aging from an inescapable destiny into a solvable engineering problem.
You can find Epitalon and other peptides at our sponsor, Ascension Peptides. You can find Epitalon and other peptides at our sponsor, Ascension Peptides. You can find Epitalon and other peptides at our sponsor, Ascension Peptides.